A very good evening to you all and welcome to the English News Bulletin here on Rwanda Television. We believe that you had a good day. We'll begin with the top stories of the day. On Tuesday, the city of Kigali handed over keys to 172 families for 310 of the newly 688 newly constructed houses in Mazi village, Gitega sector. The Ministry of Health has shown that using drones to provide health services such as spraying mosquito killing chemicals in swamps offers hope in reducing the number of people who die from malaria. On the international scene, chimpanzees in Uganda's Udongo forest have been observed using medicinal plants to treat wounds and injuries. It is always a pleasure to have you on board. Now let's kick off the edition. On Tuesday, the city of Kigali handed over keys to 172 families for 310 of the 688 newly constructed houses in Mazi village, Gitega sector. We have details on this story. Foster Mukamana, one of the beneficiaries of the newly constructed homes in Gitega sector, expressed her gratitude as she joined others in receiving keys to their new houses.
The
place is very nice. They gave us 4 houses, 2 with 1 room and a living room and a bathroom and all other necessities. They also gave us another house with 2 rooms and a bathroom, and we also received a bigger house of 3 rooms and a living room and 2 bathrooms. They gave us a new house with water, electricity, and gas for cooking. The place has been renewed and there will be no theft as it was before because the place is so secure now. These houses were constructed on land where many of the residents originally had their homes. While construction was underway, the city of Kigali covered their rent based on the valuation of their previous properties. The remaining houses were allocated to other vulnerable families in need of housing. Emma Claudine Hirenganya, the Director General in charge of Communication and Education at the city of Kigali, explained the criteria used to allocate the 793 homes in total, as well as the documents required to formalize ownership. The beneficiaries fall into 2 categories. The first category includes people who originally owned property on this land. They have been compensated and will receive ownership documents for the new houses. They will continue to own property here, just as they did before. The second category consists of vulnerable families who are being relocated into the remaining houses with support from the city of Kigali. These families are assisted based on the directive from the Ministry of Local Government. According to this directive, some families may be allowed to live in the houses for a certain period before being granted ownership documents, while others may be given permanent homes depending on their level of need. However, if a family's situation improves and they no longer fall under the vulnerable category, they may be required to vacate the houses so that other vulnerable families can benefit. We will continue to follow and implement these guidelines as set by the Ministry of Local Government. The city of Kigali plans to continue this resettlement program in nearby areas around the Mazi village before expanding to Nyagatovu and beyond. The 688 houses inaugurated today were built on a land that previously housed 111 families. An additional 7 families had lived where a vocational training center now stands. 20 families previously occupied the area where the local market was built, while 34 families lived in an area prone to landslides beneath a road embankment. Now to the health sector. The Ministry of Health has shown that using drones to provide health services such as spraying mosquito-killing chemicals in swamps offers hope in reducing the number of people who die from malaria. Let's take a look at the details. In a significant step toward improving healthcare delivery, drones are now playing a critical role in Rwanda's fight against malaria. At the pharmacy storage unit of Kibirizi Hospital in Gisagara district, one of the 5 districts most affected by malaria in Rwanda, life-saving malaria treatment drugs are being delivered swiftly by drone. Emmanuel Kazubgenje, a pharmacy staff member at the hospital, highlights the efficiency of this new system.
The drones help us obtain emergency drugs that patients urgently need. In fact, we are currently preparing to request more malaria medication, and we had already submitted a request earlier.
It takes between 25 and 30 minutes for the drone coming from Muhanga to arrive at Kibirizi Hospital to deliver the medicines and return. Dr. Mbaire Bedast, the Director General of Kibirizi Hospital, says that using drones to order medicine speeds up the treatment of patients with severe malaria.
Since we started using drones, the number of deaths from severe malaria has decreased, as we now receive medicines on time and can treat patients promptly. This also helps us prevent stockouts of essential drugs.
According to data from the Ministry of Health, malaria cases have decreased by 90% in the past 5 years. However, last year, there was a resurgence with 800,000 reported cases and 80 deaths. 15 districts, including all those in the city of Kigali, account for 86% of malaria cases nationwide, while the remaining 15 districts represent an average of 14%. Dr. Aimable Mutuyumuremyi, the head of the Malaria Control Unit at the Rwanda Biomedical Center, emphasizes that the use of drones offers promising prospects for reducing malaria-related deaths.
Using drones to deliver medicines such as artesunate and vaccines is already helping and will continue to help by ensuring faster delivery of essential medicine supplies to hospitals. Additionally, using drones to spray insecticides in swamps on a nationwide scale would support existing malaria control strategies such as indoor insecticide spraying and distribution of mosquito nets. By targeting mosquito breeding grounds directly, drone-based spraying can reduce the need for insecticides used inside homes, making the overall strategy more efficient and effective.
The use of drones in health services is divided into 3 categories: spraying insecticides in swamps, which began in 2020, transporting malaria medicines, which started last April, delivering blood for transfusion to emergency patients, which began in October 2016. Tomorrow News, government partners involved in programs aimed at improving citizens' livelihoods have expressed appreciation for the way funds allocated to the VUP Vision 2020 Mulenge program are being used effectively to benefit many people. Those who benefit from these funds confirm that their lives have improved, but they are also being encouraged to work with the understanding that the support will not last forever. Since 2020, Sweden and the United Kingdom have contributed 58.5 million euros to the VUP initiatives, and Germany has expressed interest in also contributing. Representatives of these countries visited the VUP projects in the Miyove and Kadio sectors of the Chumbi district and all commended the proper use of the funds. Anna Wilson, on behalf of the High Commissioner of the UK to Rwanda, stated that they are happy to continue working with Rwanda.
So we're a strong partner of LODA. We're also delighted to be here today with Sweden and with Germany, and there's a whole host of development partners working on social protection. I'd like to give my thanks to LODA in particular, who've really spearheaded the VUP programme and are doing great work, and we're really delighted to be part of the partnership. So I think we saw with the recent EICV data, the household survey data, that poverty's come down. There's been massive success in Rwanda, but there's still more to do. There's those who are still below the poverty line that we need to invest in, and we need to help graduate out of poverty. There's also certain categories of individuals who can't work and will need sustained support, and that's why we've been really happy to partner on the disability grant, also the old age grant, and as I say, the nutrition sensitive programming, so that's going to pregnant mothers. So I think in terms of the way ahead, it's really keeping that focus on inclusion and ensuring those who need support continue to get that support, they have that safety net. But then it's about ensuring that the VUP programme is well coordinated with all of the government of Rwanda's other efforts, also with all development partner efforts on livelihoods, on education, on a host of sectors that we're involved in and others are, so that we can really maximise the impact of our development assistance.
Still on these initiatives, the Local Administrative Entities Development Agency, which oversees these activities, notes that it is a good sign that people's lives are improving. Over the past 7 years, 12% of the population, about 1.5 million people, have been lifted out of poverty, according to the 7th survey conducted by the National Institute of Statistics. LODA strongly affirms that the VUP program played a significant role in achieving this. Now, moving ahead to more news, Ambassador Irit Savion-Werdegon, Deputy Head of Mashav, Israel's Agency for International Development Cooperation, highlighted the ongoing collaboration between Israel and Rwanda in various key sectors. Our colleague Adam Squizera spoke with her about the growing partnership. Take a look.
I look at Africa from our side, from our point of view, and we are honored to have wonderful cooperation. Over the years, we have hundreds and thousands of participants, different programs from different countries in Africa, and a lot of them from your country, from Rwanda, in training and capacity building programs in Israel and around the world and back in your country. In Rwanda also we have a Center of Excellence on Agriculture. So we are very honored on the cooperation with your country.
Well, you stated that in Rwanda there are some of the projects from Israel. Would you elaborate those projects?
Oh, I'll be honored. First and foremost, in Rwanda was one of the first centers of excellence. Center of Excellence is actually a model farm which is located in an important location chosen by the local government as a regional hub for training, teaching, sharing technologies on agriculture. The center in Rwanda is very much operational. It had some years that was a little bit less activity, but it's being renewed now. Lots of activities, lots of training programs and capacity building. So that's the, I would say, the jewel in the crown. But also, over the years, we had amazing programs. As you know, we now have, after the renewal of the relations, we have the second ambassador, Ambassador Einat Weiss. But during also the former ambassador, Ambassador Roni Adam, we had lots of programs on innovation. We had here young men and women coming to training on entrepreneurship, on innovation, on ecosystem, how to promote their own startups. There was also some mentoring programs with Rwanda. That was very interesting. We had many doctors coming. We had during COVID and right after COVID, which was a world challenge, and Israel was a model country on the vaccination and coming out of it. At the beginning, we had a lot of doctors coming from Rwanda on programs of managing health systems in times of crisis, working in hospitals. How do you deal with a challenge at that size? We also had, of course, education programs with participants from Rwanda. We have agriculture agronomists who are going to Rwanda in different programs, not only in the Excellence Center, but also in others. I can be very proud in our embassies. They are working very hard, and also with your governments who are collaborators in the most beautiful way that we can reach and obtain real results in this cooperation.
Well, do you think over some years this has yielded some results, rating from when it began up to now?
I think it's only growing and growing and growing because since we have a resident embassy, there's more activity. There's a difference when you're a non-resident embassy or resident and when there's ambassador on the ground, an embassy active on the ground, talking to ministries, talking to governments, talking to universities, talking to young men and women and other organizations. That brings out a lot more. And every day there's more collaboration, more interest, more good things are happening. As I said, I mentioned earlier, we have also in your country very good collaboration with other agencies of other countries, and we're expecting soon a delegation on innovation and entrepreneurship from your country. We had trainings on fishing programs and many more.
This question goes far from this topic we were reiterating. Earlier today, we visited the Yad Vashem. It's the Holocaust Memorial, and Rwanda, as you know, is the country that you literally share the history with it. We keep seeing genocide denial and ideology keep spreading worldwide. What's your call to the world to stop this?
with your permission, as a second generation to the Holocaust. My mom was a Holocaust survivor. When in Europe that we know today as an enlightened continent, over 6 million Jews were murdered, burned alive, only for being Jews, not warriors, not an army. There was no political reason for that, only pure hatred. Therefore, the Holocaust is, for me, incomparable to anything, and we do understand the experience of other countries and other nations who have suffered horrendous disasters, as your country and others. And we support in our hearts and in our minds, and we believe in the right for a better future for people around the world, for us, for you, and for everybody.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Until next time, I'm Adams Kwizera reporting for Rwanda Television in Israel.
Now to the education sector, experts and education professionals emphasized the critical need for teacher trainers to stay aligned with emerging trends and innovations, a key message underscored at an international conference on teacher training and sustainable development. Nora Gladys takes us through.
Aligning teaching practices with current realities such as technology, integration, inclusive education, and student-centered learning were emphasized by researchers and education experts as key areas to focus on when training future teachers. However, they also pointed out challenges still faced by lecturers in higher learning institutions who train prospective teachers. Technology is advancing rapidly and bringing about various changes. So when students leave school and enter the workforce, they are required to continue upgrading their skills to avoid being left behind, and the same applies to those still in school. Dr. Florian Sanganwimana, the principal of the College of Education at the University of Rwanda, mentioned that currently more emphasis is being placed on research and solutions to existing challenges are being developed. As a College of Education, what the university expects from us is education that brings transformation and innovation in the field. That is the vision the university has given us, and all the research we conduct is aimed at achieving that goal. One of the main challenges to conducting research is limited financial capacity and the gap in Africa's education, as explained by Professor Peter Mtika.
There is quite a lot that is being done at the moment, but at the same time there's a lot of potential that as African researchers we can do a lot more. But for us to be able to do that, research is very expensive, so we need to just have the right funding. We've currently relied quite a lot on our development partners, and as we've noted of late with the U.S. government, curtailing aid to education and other sectors, maybe this is a time that we can, as governments in Africa, begin to fund our research appropriately. You heard from the representative from the Ministry of Education highlighting some of the challenges that for example, in Rwanda, in terms of the productivity of research outputs is quite low. So we need funding. We need ways of working collaboratively amongst ourselves to grow our research capacity, and that the research that we do is the one that is going to lead to sustainable development on the continent.
This international conference, which seeks to explore ways to enhance the skills of those who train future teachers, is a 3-day event attended by around 150 participants. All of them are professionals in the education sector, particularly teacher training, and they come from various African countries, especially from those neighboring Rwanda. Nora Gladys, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Nora. Now to Rubavu district, a group of artists has launched a project to sketch various regions of Rwanda with the goal of later compiling their work into a detailed storybook aimed at promoting the country's beauty and heritage. Urban Sketches is a collective group of talented artists skilled in quick sketching techniques, and their initiatives to promote Rwanda through art began in Kigali City, where they illustrated several parts of the capital. Biseruka Joshua, the founder of the group, along with Lander Kabera, a seasoned artist, explained that the aim is to travel across the country, focusing on historically significant locations, tourist attractions, and other unique features that showcase Rwanda on the international stage. As part of their efforts to further promote Rwanda throughout, the Urban Sketches group visited the École d'Art de Nyundo, a school that trains talented young artists. They encouraged the students to prioritize artwork that reflects Rwanda's identity and can be shared with the world. Beyond Rwanda, groups of skilled sketch artists under the Urban Sketches name also exist in several other countries, especially in Europe.
Muyobozi wa sosiyete, turakwibutsa ko buri sosiyete isabwa n'itegeko kubika ibitabo bya sosiyete ndetse no gushyikiriza RDB amakuru abikubiyemo. Ibyo bitabo birimo igitabo cy'abanyamigabane, icy'abagenewe inyungu ku migabane, inyandiko y'amakuru ya sosiyete, ibaruramari ngarukamwaka n'izindi. Gutanga amakuru y'ugenewe inyungu ku migabane wanyura kuri bo.rdb.rw, naho gutanga izindi nyandiko ukanyura kuri org.rdb.rw.
Nyiri muto arababwiraga data bati ntabwo wagira umukamo mwinshi utunze inka imwe, ariko nigeze acika intege. Mama akinjira mu bucuruzi hari abamubwiraga bati ntabwo watera imbere udakorera mu iduka rigezweho, ariko ntibyamusubije inyuma, yakoranaga umwete. Njya muri kaminuza hari abanshidikanyagaho bavuga ko nashobora kaminuza naturuka mu muryango wifashije, ariko byarangiye nanditse amateka mashya. Igihe cyo gutera ishema umuryango wanjye kigeze, bamwe bakomeje kumbwira bati ntabwo watera umuryango wawe ibyishimo n'ishema, ariko narabishoboye. Hari abakekaga ko nasigira umurage ukomeye abankomokaho, ariko ubu mfite uruganda rutunganya amata. Banki ya Kigali yabaye umufatanyabikorwa wanjye mu rugendo rwose, inzozi zanjye ziba impamo. Bigereho.
You're still watching RTV News. Now to matters making headlines globally. Chimpanzees in Uganda's Budongo forest have been observed using medicinal plants to treat wounds and injuries both on themselves and each other, offering new insight into primate self-care. BBC has the details.
This young chimpanzee is doing something subtle but extraordinary. He's chewing plant material and dabbing it onto a wound on his knee.
She's watching him again.
It's just one example of how the chimpanzees of Budongo Forest in Uganda use plants to treat their injuries.
I wonder if he has a wound.
Researchers have spent years watching these chimps as they go about their daily lives. They've discovered and just published a whole repertoire of chimpanzee first aid, some of which involves the apes using forest plants that are known to have healing properties. This footage shows an adult male dabbing a wound with a leaf from a plant that's also sometimes gathered by local people for medicinal use. And it's tricky to see in this shaky footage, but watch this young female on the left. She's dabbing chewed plant material onto an injury on her mother's body. Rare evidence of wild chimps using plants to tend to each other's injuries.
Some of the plants that the chimpanzees are using for these wound care behaviors actually have known traditional uses in human medicine. And others have pharmacological properties that are actually known to have wound healing components that help either prevent against infection or also reduce inflammation.
In captivity, life for a chimpanzee is very different. But here at Chester Zoo in the UK, keepers have seen some strikingly similar behaviour.
If they've got my name, there's like a little cut here and there. Some of the more dominant chimps might even come up to the keepers and almost show it to them.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Chimps are fascinating. They're so clever that we know our chimps here and we know a lot about them, but learning from the wild is stuff that we'd never even thought they could do. And so if they're using first aid, different plants in the wild, we could even plant some of those plants here and see if they do the same reaction.
This ongoing research is revealing just how much insight these intelligent primates have into the forest around them.
Chimpanzees thrive here because they know how to access the secrets of this place and how to find all they need to survive from their surroundings.
These animals are some of our closest living relatives. studying them in the wild gives scientists insight into the origins of our social interactions, our communication, and how we take care of one another. Victoria Gill, BBC News.
And the story brings us to the end of tonight's bulletin, but before we leave, a reminder of the top stories that made this edition. On Tuesday, the city of Kigali handed over keys to 172 families for 310 of the 688 newly constructed houses in Mazi village, Gitega sector. The Ministry of Health has shown that using drones to provide health services such as spraying mosquito-killing chemicals in swamps offers hope in reducing the number of people who die from malaria. On the international scene, we have seen how chimpanzees in Uganda's Budongo forest have been observed using medicinal plants to treat wounds and injuries. Now that marks the end of today's bulletin. My name is Olive Nete. Thank you for joining us. On behalf of the entire team, we wish you a productive week ahead. Stay safe and take care.
Ndabashuje mbifuriza n'ikaze inshuti